Hello YouTube, this is going to be a very long and complicated way of setting up your machine to use the threshold. Okay, we will also show you what the menu and ground grab button does, and you will also have to understand how to set the machine up correctly before you actually go out and detect with it. Okay, now first things first, we've got, if you can imagine, cut the machine in half. We've got that side to do, then we've got this side to do. Okay. And I will explain as we go along what we're doing so that you can understand why we've got to do it in this order. Okay. So, first things first. When we deal with this side, we have to do this side first because certain aspects of this machine will only work on this side before you do this side. Okay, once we start on this side, that side will no longer work. All right, and you then got to keep resetting your threshold and redoing ground balancing every time you come back over here to do something. So we really ideally need to set this side up first. Okay, so first things first, we are going to turn the machine on. Perfect. Now, I've got discrimination set at 50. Okay. Now, first of all, you would need to set your discrimination pattern up first. So I'm going to lower that down. I'm going to bring that down to 40. All right. I normally run mine at like 38, but we'll put it at 40. All right. Now we have to run that first. Okay. Next, what we do is we put the sensitivity up to 60 or to 65-ish. All right. Now, next thing you do is you go into your menu. If you need your backlight on, do it now. Okay. The next one, you will need to change your volume, okay, to suit your ears through your headphones. It is advisable to use headphones when using the threshold because of very small and very deep targets, okay, because there will be a slight difference in the tone that you will really need to hear, and the only way of doing that is through headphones. All right, so once you've set that, that is that side of the machine done. Okay, now next we've got to introduce the all metal section. Okay, now put that on so that it gets to there. Okay, now the ground balance I've done from over in my corner, so I know roughly that it's there. Okay, now just for demonstration purposes so it doesn't let out any noise, I'm turning my sensitivity right down for now. Okay, but you can adjust that after you've done this. Now, on the threshold, you will hear nothing at the moment. Now, this will be set at -40 for the threshold. Now, it will go all the way up to 40. Now, this acts as your threshold hum, and it also acts as your volume. Okay, now what you need to do is to tune it so that you can just barely hear the hum, which to me is -0.4. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's just audible. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you will then need to do the ground phase all metal section. Okay. To do that, what you need to do is to press and hold the menu ground grab button. Okay. So you press and hold that. At the same, once you've got hold of it, you need to lift and put the coil to around 2 centimeters from the floor. Okay, so you need to raise it from 0 to around 15 centimeters, down to 2, back up and down until that number becomes stable. Okay, it won't work indoors. So for me, it's around 28 indoors, which is, you're not supposed to do it indoors, I know. But I've got my light shining on. There we go. Right. So now that we've got that bit done, okay, you can alter your ground balance manually. Okay. Now, once you've got this bit set up, now you can introduce back in your sensitivity if you haven't already done it. Okay. Now, that is everything sorted. Okay. Now, the reason why you set up your discrimination first is for this reason. It makes the machine just that bit quieter in and around iron. Okay? So now when you're running around, you will not be constantly hearing the warble that would be iron in the floor. Okay? Now you can go switch back over and adjust that should you need to. However, when you do so and you come back into your discrimination and you change it for where you need it to, say 30, okay, when you come back over to here and turn this back on, you will need to do another ground grab. All right. By bringing it down to your discrimination down to 30, some things will sound, some will not. So you need to set your discrimination pattern up to where you want it so that your machine becomes just that little bit stable. Okay? Now, some will turn around and say, well, you can't really turn around and do it like that. Just run it without any discrimination. You can, and I will show you what happens. Let's turn the discrimination all the way off. We'll put the threshold back in. And we'll set that there. Right. So it's fairly quiet, but obviously I haven't got any natural iron in the house. Plus, you can also get interference from telegraph poles or whatever, so it just tends to help just that little bit. Even if you put your discrimination on 10, just to help get rid of the natural iron, it won't drive you absolutely potty. Alright? That's myself. That is the way I run this machine. To go back over to your other settings, you just put that one back over. Okay. Your discrimination, you can leave at 0. And what you then need to do is to go back into your menus. Hang on, remember what I'm supposed to be doing. We need to go back into your ground balance, don't we? Which you can't do on here. So turn the machine off, turn it back on, and your ground balance should then start again automatically. Okay. Put your sensitivity back up, where I like to run mine, 83 or 85, and go from there. Hopefully, oh, there we go, interference indoors. There we go. That's an interference. If you get that sort of thing, that is electromagnetic interference, and the best way of solving that problem is turn your sensitivity down. Okay? Hopefully that'll help you understand and the best way of setting your machine up to use for threshold, and you'll be able to turn around and hopefully use that to your advantage. Okay? I've only tried using it a couple of times, and I have found it very, very useful, especially if you are in very, very high trashy areas. If you want to hear those slightly deeper targets that are sometimes very, very difficult to hear, what you will hear is the threshold hum will slightly deviate, so it will go slightly higher or slightly lower. Slightly lower for non-ferrous and slightly higher for ferrous. So you can, if you listen very, very closely with your headphones on and you hear that slight deviation, go back over that area where you've just swung and listen for the little rise or the little fall. That would indicate a very deep target right on the machine's limit of detection. Now, when you're using the threshold variation on this machine, the depth will be slightly deeper. According to the manufacturer of Dr.Ötek, you should be able to get down to around 15, maybe 17 inches of depth. But that would be quite a large target at that depth. All right. Again, ideally, you are probably being realistic and listening down to around 12 to 13 inches of depth on this. Where you are using it on the normal mode, which is here, you are getting where the machine is auto ground balancing. You will find that some of the really, really small targets won't get picked up quite so well on the discrimination mode. But if you're switching over to the threshold mode, you will find those tiny little targets will get picked up by this machine. Okay, it is a faff to get it all switched over, and I understand that, and it's for a lot of people to start off with using the discrimination mode is going to be the easiest mode to use, which again, totally understandable, and would be a good way to start off on this machine to learn what it can and cannot pick up at depth. At which point, switching over to the threshold and learning how to use the threshold is also a very, very good idea for, as I say, those very small, tiny little targets and small silver coins, cut quarters that are possibly down to around 6-7 inches with this machine. All right, that won't sound on the discrimination mode. So that's how to basically use it, and I hope that's been of great help to you. Okay, thank you very much, YouTube. Goodbye.